Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is League Unlock. We are back. Eric and Mark here with you guys. And the LCS, before the official spring split has even started, they just keep giving us little nuggets to talk about. First, you got LCS owners. They want to potentially remove the restrictions on imports. And now we got what started with a leak by Wild Turtle on I Will Dominate's show that, by the way, Pobelter's benched, guys. Oh, you didn't know? Whoops. Now it's sounding like, according to Travis Gafford, that Pobelter isn't just benched. He wants a trade. Where's he going to get traded to, Mark?
Oh, my word. This is not a good situation and a wacky one all at the same time. Not a good combination. Man, this is a major yikes when you're talking about a player and someone like Pobelter in this situation. Because obviously, again, knowing Pobelter and what he's done in the scene, I think he does deserve a certain amount of, whatever, really, at this point, respect, opportunity, all these type of things. Sure. But man, you look at the LCS scene, you start breaking down who are the mid laners and the starting mid laners and the project mid laners. Where are there opportunities for someone like Pobelter? Unfortunately for him, they're not the names that he really wants to go to for a better opportunity.
I can only honestly really see him going to play on an academy team or doing what he did like on Team Liquid, where he's a positional coach, something to that regard. Because, yeah, you look around, I feel like the only two spots that might take him as an upgrade are Immortals for Insanity, and they might want to give Insanity more of an opportunity, which is fine, and then Dignitas with Saligo, which is a similar scenario. But as you mentioned before we started, you got Dardoch on Dignitas, and Dardoch and Pobelter have a little bit of history from when they were both on Immortals together.
Right, so when you're starting to pare down, the organizations, the landing spots you could be talking about, well, obviously cross off, you got Jensen, you got Perks, you got Power of Evil, you got DeMonte, those are absolutely things you're not looking at. Yep. And then you're talking about a tier like a Blaze Olive, Palafox, I would include.
You got to give them at least a chance to start before you're replacing them.
Right. Absolutely deserving of their shot, deserving to show the potential, show opportunity for growth. Those players have certainly earned their spot not to be taken away this year. And then again, you're left with the list that we were talking about towards the very bottom, which really, you're not really talking about it as an upgrade or, better opportunity than what you have with CLG right now, even if you're, not agreeing and feuding with the coaching staff, which is not the best always. It still is puzzling to think about, well, okay, you're not happy, you want out. Sure, that's okay. But where? Where
I don't know if it gets better for how big of a dumpster fire CLG.
The surprise is it doesn't, unfortunately, and look, there's no good news here. There's no good news.
It's weird to hear about behavioral or issues with the management from a guy like Pobelter, something we've never really heard from throughout his career, and I don't know if that speaks more to the coaching staff. Obviously, we're not behind the scenes. We don't know, but everything I've seen behind the scenes that Pobelter has done in content with teams, he always seems like such a great teammate, willing to sacrifice or do whatever. So I don't know what's going on.
Why can we not just get a good, normal experience for Broxa in North America, man? He has everything go wrong with Team
Nice
Liquid,
guys finish
Visa.
Last, man. That's it.
Exactly. The nice guy. We got another Visa issue this year. Everything was, and then CLG and just a CLG, and then
Broxa might get that Visa in the mail and just be like, oops, dropped it in the garbage,
I never
guys.
got that letter.
Sorry, CLG, I can't come. Sorry, guys. Have a good season. But
man.
if Pobelter is leaving, definitely sounds like he is, or at least bench. So you have Deus starting, who was the top laner for them last year. He's the academy mid now. He's renamed to RJS. It's a mess already for CLG. And guess what, guys? The games haven't even started.
Yeah, absolutely. And the crazy thing when you're talking about this situation is, last year, you're just removed from a situation where we didn't have, we had basically Golden Glue as our only North American starting mid laner, quote unquote, real domestic player in the scene. And there were a lot of talk about, okay, why not? Why not have Pobelter start in this type of situation? Very, very different landscape in the LCS, as we've described to you. A lot of the players, star players that are set in their lineups as their starting mid laners, you're not moving off, you're not replacing someone in that sense, let alone right, the season starting. And then secondly, as we talked about, I think the most interesting ones and the most, opportunities that would line up could have been the ones where you have a Blaze Olive, where you have Palafox specifically on something like FlyQuest. But I would be extremely upset and urge those organizations to hold course, hold on, a Blaze Olive, Palafox, give them their shot at the very least, guys. We haven't even started.
If he's not playing on an academy or helping with coaching, I could see maybe 3-4 weeks in, maybe somebody's underperforming. Maybe the guys we mentioned, Insanity or whoever, is really not playing well. Then maybe you reach out to Pobelter. But before week 1, none of these teams with the rookie mid laners are saying, you know what, we've been scrimming. We did the whole lock-in tournament together. Let's blow it out. Let's blow it out before the spring split even starts. No one's going to do that.
And again, this is not coming from, us wanting to say that, this is a player that doesn't get this opportunity or shouldn't be given an opportunity. That's nothing. Again, we talked about getting Pobelter, opportunities last year in the scene. This is just not the landscape that you have in North America, and especially right now at the mid lane position and what needs to be done. Really, the best spot for him is CLG. But that seems to be where he's unhappy.
Pretty burned at this point. I guess Wild Turtle, the leaks were just the very beginning of what actually is going on. CLG continues to be a hot mess. It's just now on and off the rift for them. There were some games today to get through. We had some important ones, some big bangers, or at least one banger. EDG versus Suning. It's rare that we start with LPL ones, but hey, this was Suning. Got some momentum. They were dominating the lower tier teams in the LPL. They go up against EDG, undefeated, 6-0, and EDG makes Suning look like a middle tier team in the LPL.
Yeah, this was one of those indications where it wasn't really much about Suning. And when we've talked quite a fair bit about Suning, the past 2 weeks, especially this week, and what they've been able to do and the form that they've been rounding back into at that level where you wanted to see them clash against one of the elites that we had at the top of the table in the LPL. It doesn't get much more elite right now than EDG at that 7-0 with this victory, 6-0 heading into this one. They took care of business so unbelievably clean that this is not really about me looking at Suning and going, wow, what a failure, or these mistakes. You're looking at this and going, oh my lord, what level can EDG get to, and how destructive can they be on the Rift? The answer is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was a uncontested Dragon Soul in game 1. I know it was just Cloud Soul, but still, getting an uncontested Soul pre-25 minutes it's insane, and just shows how in control of a game you are. Game 2, it wasn't a uncontested Ocean Soul, but it was pre-23 minutes. They get an Ocean Soul and get an ace at the same time. That's game over 99 times out of 100.
Absolutely. And game over. EDG making sure that 7-0 record sticks with them at the very top, the tippity top of the LPL standings.
Yeah, 2 losses along with that. Yes, 7-0, but only 2 losses total, 14-2 overall. So, and today kind of showcased it wasn't Viper playing out of his mind. It wasn't Scout playing out of his mind. It was just EDG across the board clearly looked like the better team in both games.
This was the overall product, right? This was not one player making a big standout. You had everybody finding ways to contribute, move across the board and make sure you're finding that finish line of a victory for EDG faithful. I liked what Flandre did. I think that if you're trying to pick out a standout member maybe today and their importance in what they were able to do, I think that he was very vital in a lot of the things that they were trying to get accomplished. Very, very happy to see him performing on this squad and having a squad. And then again, let alone him being the standout, finding this performance today. Again, you don't have this level of play, this level of accomplishment come through without everybody performing at a high level. That's just EDG right now, man. High level.
And don't sleep on them. Stop. People are already, because they're playing so well, it's already, here comes a disappointment internationally, which is the EDD classic way, dominate the LPL and not show up internationally. But hey, it's been a while since we were even talking about EDG at an international competition, so their fans would probably be happy with that.
Absolutely would need to. Hey, we just had, pretty much the first year ever in history not having EDG represented at the World Championship, not at a world event. This is, again, the rebirth this year of having EDG back at the front of our minds, back as an elite powerhouse.
And I'm just happy to see Viper on a team. It'll just continue to bring up the questions of the what if that was Griffin if they had stuck together and maybe got a different top laner. But that will just remain a distant memory. LCK action, we had the big boys. Damwon Kia, gotta shout out the sponsor, versus Live Sandbox. This was a fun one. It was a 2-0 for Damwon. Game 1. Everyone's been waiting for it. Fizz top. What years? Is this season 5, season 6 when that was rolling around? We got Tank Fizz in the top lane.
You know what? I like Fizz. I like seeing Fizz. I think it's it changes things up, at least brings some excitement, a difference to the Rift. Top lane Fizz is something we can have some discussions about. I'm not the biggest fan. It was certainly not, I hesitate to say not a problem in this game. It absolutely was not a positive, is how I'll settle on it.
I much prefer seeing Tank Fizz because full AP Fizz is just, it's so horrible to play against. It's so horrible to witness poor backliners having to deal with an untargetable damage one shot. Maybe
one of the most unfun things to play against in League of Legends. And there's a lot of unfun things.
You could make a pretty good power ranking for that. But yeah, Khan, maybe not the focal point in that first game. It was actually Beryl who picked up the MVP on the Rel. Ghost was really good on the Xayah in that game. And of course, Syndra didn't die. But game 1 was the big stomp, 10k gold lead for Damwon. Game 2, we didn't get the Fizz, unfortunately. We got the Scion, but Summit had the perfect pocket pick, counter pick to it. Last pick of the draft. Give me that Croc. Give me the Croc. It's not for Croco. It's for me, baby.
Come on. This is not meant to be, some like LS segment or some ripping on it. This is just simply, guys, you're R5. You've seen everything. You can figure something out. You can't be just saving it here to go, Renekton is the count. He's got to be it. Come on. We need to have more critical thinking than just R5 and Renektons.
Maybe they thought it was Scion Jungle. Yeah, Scion Jungle Graves top.
Yikes, maybe. But at the same time, when you're talking about what that sets us up for in this game was an R5 Renekton of a game and the quality.
Yeah, it's Damwon definitely threw it a couple of times. They had this Showmaker Go show in the Baron Pit, eerily similar to the BDD Ruler one we saw last week. But yeah, I mean, Damwon was in control, and then they lost some team fights. It just seemed like they lost focus for a little bit. Not much of a concern. Losses or even not clean games, I'm not concerned about with Damwon, to be honest.
Certainly not concerned. The individual performances still there at an extremely high level from them. I think obviously this game number 2 is certainly losing a bit of focus, and that's very clear. That look, even as positive as Lee as we talk about Damwon Gaming, if they're not at the peak of focus, you're gonna see some slip up in the gameplay, slip up in how they're managing the map and things. That is important to keep a note. And obviously, it's easy to have that type of slip up in game 2 against Live Sandbox. You got to be aware about, keeping this under wraps so that it doesn't sneak out when you're in game 2 against Gen G or game 2 against your boys G2 or something like that.
I would imagine that it'd be easier to stay focused in those matches.
Showmaker, I would hope so.
Showmaker continues to impress on literally any champion. He should just A to Z this champion list and start playing that. He had the Rise in game 2.
Can you have a more perfect champion for that situation around Baron where it is just him, going in there and it's like, okay, what champion can spread him out the damage the most and delete everyone? Rise feels pretty good in that type Baron pit.
Why does everyone insist on hanging out behind Baron in that situation so they all take more damage? I don't understand.
I swear that I will never forgive and understand that at the professional level, because that is something that you see in solo queue games, or you explain to your friend one time, like, hey, You know the spikes of damage and everything you're taking at the back of the Baron pit. It's less if you're not there.
I get you want some space between the people contesting, but all you're doing is giving them more space, more room to play with. Look how close up Showmaker and Ghost are both able to walk because everyone's cowering in the Baron pit.
You're letting them get the PvE help from the Baron, take you down a couple notches.
Yeah.
And, I tell you what, you do not need to give players like Showmaker and the rest of Damwon Kia any bits of advantages.
It's the classic, you're waiting in stealth in an MMO when someone's killing a boss. You wait till they're both at 10%, kill the guy, kill the boss, get the loot. Clean, boys. They didn't get the Baron. They got the dub eventually.
There you go.
Gen.G versus Nongshim was the other matchup at the LCK, and Gen.G wasn't messing around today. They were BDD's back in the lineup, and hey, I think Gen.G looks a little bit better with him in the mid lane, Mark.
Yeah, this is very much so when we were talking about why we weren't going to dock anything off of Gen.G or panic about a Gen.G loss without BDD. This is very clearly the different story. And when you're talking about Gen.G and you talk about Gen.G at this elite level, you're talking about the BDD Gen.G. Come on, guys.
It's another game, another Olaf. Game 1, I'll just read you out Klid's scoreline. 10, 0, and 15. That's 25 out of 29 kills on the Viking. When is patch 11.3 go live? When is that getting to pro play?
I don't know if it's maybe my eyes, but I swear last night I saw an Olaf manage to actually do more damage with his Gore Drinker than with his Smite. I don't know. I don't know about you, but things are getting a little bit too wonky for me.
Must have been too late. Got to rub the eyes to see what's going on there.
I went back and I replayed and I'm like, where's the Smite? It was Gore Drinker. That's the Smite.
Oh gosh. Game 1, they had almost a 20k gold lead at the end of the game. It was 18 at 23 minutes. That's about as big a gold lead as you're going to see at that early point in the game. Game 2 took a little bit longer to close out, but it was still fully in control by Gen.G. And I want to highlight, there's one 1v1 under the turret that Ruler does against Dub. It's so clean and so disgusting.
Yeah, these are where the clearest examples you can show to people of, look, okay, I know everybody can left click on their mouse. I know everyone can right click, okay, maybe some people can't right click on that mouse. We've seen that a couple times in solo queue.
It's tough.
But I promise you, these professionals, these guys at the highest level, the elites of the elite, they are so clean and so good. You said it, that 1v1 from Ruler, so pristine in his movements. You love to see it. You hate to be facing it.
Yeah, Dum has his flash, and he just kind of sits there and is like,
there's no point. There's no point.
Okay. Ruler still looking like the best AD carry in the LCK. Klid actually picked up both Player of the Game honors in this series. He got the Dude Ear in Game 2, and those were his first 2 POGs of the split.
One of them, even with the Udyr, I'll allow the Player of the Game there, but come on, Olaf Gore Drinker, we ain't giving
gets an asterisk. You
do not get credit for those results, my man.
5-3 now for Gen.G, and really should be 6-2 if you play BDD in that DRX series. I feel like we're talking about a 6-2 Gen.G.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving forward, that's how you got to be thinking about their power. But unfortunately, as you know, clear as day, the results do matter, and the numbers will add up in that statistical standings category. And Gen.G is a squad where the positioning, everything towards the very end, it's gonna matter whether they're gonna be able to have a fight at the top with Damwon, or whether they're fighting for second, third, or they have a big slip up, even worse in the playoff standings. I wouldn't think that much, but again, this is a league in the LCK, and towards the very top, one loss can be enough to derail or put you into a situation that you should not have been in the first place.
Definitely. We've seen that countless splits before be the case. This weekend, T1, Freddie Brion. It better be a win, Mark, or we're going to be having some tough conversations on Monday.
I tell you, it better be a Zeus starting is the way it looks for T1. And alongside that, better be your boy, Faker. We need him. And it's time for a
now.
hero. T1 needs a hero, and the T1 fan base needs a hero, and the only one acceptable is your boy Faker.
Joe Marsh's house is going to get egged if Faker's not starting these series. Also get Damwon versus DRX, which if DRX gets the upset, they're in first place mark.
That is the wonky one. I think we should be careful heading into it.
I don't
with
see
any
the
type of
upset happening,
expectation,
but you know.
But absolutely and that's what we've talked about, right? With a squad like DRX finding their form, finding a way to steal off, even in losses, steal off a game, the match score record as well. Finding these victories against Gen G without BDD, these things can add up. And as we talk about Gen G being worried about being a victim of this loss of a situation where they find themselves worse off in the standings than they needed to be, and having to face off an extra opponent, a different opponent in the playoffs type of rounds later on. A squad like DRX, getting that extra victory, getting that little extra bump, that can be a major difference maker for them as you move forward and as we gear up towards the playoff rounds.
LPL, you got Top Esports versus FPX, IG versus RNG. We got G2 versus Fnatic, Reckless against his former team for the first time, and some matchups in the LCS.
And Immortals C9.
Woo!
Yeah.
Everybody's hyped for that one. The scheduling's terrible for the first week of the LCS, but we're happy it's back either way. I'll be excited to see Pobelter playing some Academy games. But that's it today for League Unlock. Erica Bark here with you guys. As always, thanks for chilling out. We'll catch you guys and gals on the Flippity Flip.